Welcome back to the Airing It Out podcast. Now, today's episode is one I've been looking forward to doing for a long time because these are the things which have made the most positive impact to my life since the start of my mental health journey. But before we get started, did you know you can watch and listen to the Airing It Out podcast, whether you're listening now or watching now? So wherever you're at, we're always there for you. So give us a follow on Spotify, give us a follow on YouTube, and make sure that we can always be there for you. And if you have social medias, check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok. Links will be down in the description. While we've got you here, if you've got the time, maybe check out some of the backlog videos that we've got. Take a trip down memory lane of the Airing It Out podcast, because since the first day, we've always been doing the best that we can to help and support you guys. So take a little trip back, see what kind of stuff that we were putting out in the early days. It's not the same production quality and much has changed, but it's all still there waiting to be seen, and you never know what might help. Also, if you are able to, please consider supporting us on Buy Me a Coffee. That is where you can support your content creators, in other words, us. And for us, what that would mean is that affords us more time to do what it is that we love to do and we feel is our calling to do. But it also helps us improve the production quality. I mean, look at this. This is pretty good. But it could always be better. And we just want to get it out to more people. So please consider supporting us by buying us a coffee. But times are tough. If you're not able to do that, a like, a favourite or a subscribe would go an equally long way. It has been about 8.5 years since the start of my mental health journey, and I've accepted that it's probably one that I'm going to be on for the rest of my life. But today, we're not looking at the future, but we're going to take a moment to pause, look at the present, and look back at the past and see what has made the biggest positive impact to me on my journey, in the hopes that there may be something that you can glean from this, a different thing that you can try. Perhaps you're already doing them and they're things that you can resonate with. But it's also an invite that when I was writing these, there were so many that I wanted to share, but I thought, you know what, Sam, don't take the piss. Keep it concise, and keep in what you can, the things that have made the most difference. But if there are things that I've missed, if there are things that help you, please, please, please get involved and share, particularly now more than ever. Because listeners, if we're talking about this context, things that have made the most positive impact to you, by sharing that thing in its nature alone could then be a massive impact for somebody else. So if there's something which has made a world of difference to you, please comment, share, whatever it is, let us know, in the hopes that somebody might see it and you might be able to influence a positive change on that person. Also, stick around for the end of the episode, where I'm going to be sharing probably the single biggest positive contributor to my mental health. I wonder what it's going to be. So to begin with, we're going to take it back to the start, or perhaps not the start, but the very first part of this chapter, where I was picking myself up from the ground, clean slate, starting anew. And these were some of the behaviours and habits which really kind of accelerated that growth in a positive direction and a deliberate direction to the place that I wanted to go into. Number 1, not being a victim. You are not your condition, and your condition is not you. It needn't be a condition, it can be whatever. I am not a victim because my mental illness is not me, and I am not my mental illness. Don't get me wrong, it's a part of me, and there are some parts that I've overcome and some that I now live with, but I am not defined by those things. I am defined by what I choose, and you've got to find that inner resilience, that determination to say, okay, no, that's not who I am. I might not be sure, but I'm not that. You might think, well, how can I feel that way? This thing is holding me down. Okay. Do you want to be held down by that? Do you want this thing to have such an overbearing weight on your existence that you become this thing more than your own self? I know, for me, the answer was a certain no. So what was the response? Okay, this thing feels like it's holding me down. Okay, it's time to start working so I can hold it down, put it in its place where I'm comfortable, where I can take the lead and I have control once again over myself. You're not a victim. Don't be a victim. As soon as you start accepting and working with it, maybe even against it, but not being defined by it, that is a positive change, at least in my experience. And let's think back to something that Luke taught us in the interview with him, is that idea of push-ups. If you're a victim and in the back of your mind your mental health is doing push-ups, what message is going to be reinforced in your mind? That you're a victim, that you're a victim, that you're a victim, that this thing owns you. But when we start pushing back, when we start developing that resilience, no, I am not this, I am not this is not me. That's what's doing push-ups. That's what's getting stronger. Change that perception. Don't be a victim. So number 2 is helping others and doing things for others. I learned in my experiences that I had a world of troubles going on, and my internal world was an all sorts of scrambled and chaotic mess. But I learned that when I started doing things for others of my own volition, whether I was asked to or not, that gave me a sense of purpose beyond everything that was going on. That gave me reason and compellment and a reward beyond all the chaos. It allowed me to compartmentalize those things, put them to one side and say, okay, I'm going to do this for them because I want to. And that gave me a real sense of fulfillment and reward. And it helped me kind of have a little bit of a positive feedback rather than all the negative that was being generated within myself. Take time away from yourself and consider doing something for others. It's also about there's more going on in this world. It's so easy to become so enveloped in what it is that's going on in our own minds that we lose sight of that. We lose sight of that there's an entire world of things and people going on out there. So this kind of opens up that door. It gets yourself involved in the lives of other people. And if you can be a part of positively benefiting that, then that creates its own feedback loop, its own positive feedback loop. If when all the chips are down and you're going through what feels like a living hell, you're able to take that time and give that time to somebody else to selflessly benefit and improve their day, hey, come on. Is that not the antithesis of what positive mindset and well-being is? If you can do that when you feel that way, then that is a show of true character and strength, if you ask me. Number 3, big goal breakdown. So take a pause from everything that's going on, all of the troubles, all the shit, all the noise. Take a second. What is it you really want to do? Ask yourself, how do I get it? More so, what's the first step to getting it? Act on that, one step at a time. Big goal breakdown. Pursue something that matters to you. So, number 4, how have we not spoken about this on the podcast before? It's been over a year, and I think it's only been mentioned in passing. Delayed gratification. Oh my goodness. The idea of delayed gratification, if you didn't know, is the struggle now for the payoff later rather than instant gratification, which is payoff now, struggle later. And it essentially comes down to this saying which is going around, is that choose your hard. I'll say that again, choose your hard. You've got 2 choices, so the instant and delayed, and the payoff now for you were here, you heard what I said, I don't need to repeat it. You have 2 choices, and let's think of an example. So choose your hard. We could start with the instant gratification. You could eat whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted, get loads of takeaway, sit around, play video games, watch films, fantastic, life is good. But your hard, there is going to be a hard somewhere in the equation, and that hard is going to be the fact that your health will deteriorate faster. You will not be healthy. You will not be strong. You won't be able to lift yourself and move and be mobile as you might want to be when you start getting a bit older. But let's look at the alternative, the delayed gratification. We're going to have a look at the hard in that. The hard in delayed gratification is right now, unfortunately. It's sooner rather than later, and that can be a tough pill to swallow. But let's have a look at it. It's choosing exercise. It's choosing to build that strength that you might need when you get a little bit older. It's looking after your mental health with exercise. It's choosing healthier eating, so internal as well as external. It's hard because no one's going to ask you to do it. No one's going to make you do it. And unfortunately, for quite a while to begin with, you might not enjoy doing it. But what do you have at the end of the day? You have longevity, you have mobility, you have happiness, and you have health. So, biggest things that helped me, it was in the examples that I've given you. It was in diet, it was in overall health, whether it be smoking or vaping or doing drugs. And it was in exercise. Choose your hard. Learn to struggle now, because the struggle won't last forever. It will become a habit and a routine, just as all things do. It will suck to begin with, but the benefits later down the line, will be so much more than if you had everything that you wanted right now without earning it. Delayed gratification, number 4. Number 5, reading. Oh yes, come on. So there is a world of knowledge out there waiting to be consumed. And consumed, hold on. Talking about consumed, are you talking about social medias? Are you talking about TV? No, none of that. The original consumption, the original media, books, my guys, come on. Arm yourself with the knowledge of the wisest, smartest, and most interesting people that history has known. These are the people who have put forward that time and effort and put it on paper. And the further you go back, that's the longer that those books have stuck around. It's just something fascinating. That's where I started with. I thought, okay, so if I'm building this myself from the ground up, I want to learn from the people who history has stood the people that have stood the test of time and history, those historic figures, the greats. I want to learn from them. And you know what? I haven't read all the books that I wanted to, but I have read from some of them. And you're acquiring that knowledge almost as if it were from them themselves, as if you were sitting in on a lecture. Become a student once more. Become a student. Listen. Take that time. Find that peace in reading. And learn. If you don't know where to start, that's a pretty grand intro to reading. And if you don't read now, then you think, what the fuck? Oh my God. If there's a whole world of it, Jesus, where do I start? Okay, that's fine. My bad. What fascinates you? What are you passionate about? And what sparks your curiosity? Have a little bit of a think about them. And all you got to do is have a little search. Go to a library. Go to a second-hand bookshop. Maybe a first-hand bookshop. And follow what you're passionate about, follow what you're curious about, and follow what fascinates you. Start there. Scratch your own itch. Why not? Why not pursue being better at something that you really care about? Just a thought. Number 5, reading. Number 6. This is one of my favourites because it took a long time to develop, but I still have it today. An indomitable optimism. So an undefeatable optimism. At every turn, at every corner, if you are able to find a silver lining in absolutely any problem, no matter how fatal, no matter how horrendous, no matter how insignificant, if you can find a silver lining, then you cannot be stopped. So there are many problems going on at the moment, and in actual fact, I was planning an episode last night, but I was so horrendously wiped out and tired that I started doing one, and I just thought, bloody hell, what is this? But it meant that I was going to share some of the things that I'm dealing with at the moment. So a couple of things that I'm struggling with at present, at this moment. Well, maybe not while you're watching this, but while this is being filmed. Self-worth and value, right? I've been laid off twice in 1 year now. Laid off pretty recently. And whether I like it or not, that's knocked my self-worth and confidence. Work has always been a source of anxiety, particularly in the beginning, which is why it's had a lasting effect. But you know what? I see this as an opportunity. If I don't feel as though I'm being valued, or if I feel like I'm a worthy part of a workplace, then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to improve my value. I'm going to give myself value so that I can contribute that to the next place that I go to. It's encouraged me to find somewhere that I'm going to have meaning in. So while my confidence has been knocked and my value and self-worth has been knocked, I'm going to build on that. Let's have a look at another example. Body issues, okay? That's not one I've really spoken about a lot, but I've got body issues, okay? I've just come back from a holiday and I was in full holiday mode. You know what that means, enjoying the food while it's there. But I've come back and I thought, okay, so instead of obsessing, critiquing and being overly analytical of everything that I do, the way that I exercise, I'm not going to exercise with immense intensity and do as much as I can in as little time as possible, and I'm not going to over exercise because I've been eating whatever. Let's see it as an opportunity. Let's find the silver lining. The opportunity now here is to experiment, see what it's like eating whole foods, see what it's like not drinking, not eating sugar, you know, what happens? Let's find out. Curiosity. It also means instead of prioritizing intensity for any effect of losing weight or whatever, I'm going to exercise for movement. I'm going to exercise and work on my breathing, on flexibility, mobility and skill, rather than towards a particular end, such as that which might be a motivation with my one more. I've also been struggling with putting myself under a hell of a lot of pressure unnecessarily, but I also struggle with external pressures, so things that are coming from outside of myself. And the silver lining in that is that, okay, so instead of putting myself under pressure, instead of feeling loads of pressure from everybody else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to understand what it is that I want. I'm going to try focus on what I want. I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to give my mind a bit of grace, and I'm going to go forward as best that I can every day, not punish myself, not constrain myself, and try and enjoy it along the way. And I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't been putting myself under loads of pressure. So from that, I got this. But so indomitable optimism is definitely a skill. But the value of having that skill of being able to see a silver lining in everything that you may ever encounter means that you won't be beaten. You won't be defeated, because everything, even if it is the worst situation ever, is a learning opportunity, is an opportunity for growth. And the world will keep spinning. The sun will rise again, just as it will set in the evening. And you're going to be okay. But find that silver lining. Halfway through the episode, if you are liking what we're putting out so far, please give us a like, a favourite, or a subscribe, or a follow on Spotify. Also, please contribute. You know, what is the biggest thing which has influenced your life? Let us know. Moving on. So now we're moving on to part number 2. These are the things which make the biggest impact on my life now on a day-to-day basis. So that was back then. That was what was the most pivotal steps in the start of my journey. But now we're however many years down the line, and these are the things that I work on day to day. Number 1, I'm still not a victim. It's still not happening, you know. My problems remain relative. I've overcome a lot, and I've endured a lot, and I've learned a lot since the start of this journey. But one thing that I've got to learn and appreciate is that my problems will remain relative. Just because the problems of old no longer exist doesn't mean there won't be problems of new. The problems stay relative, and it's about rolling with that and accepting no matter how far down the line, no matter how much I grow, my problems might grow with me, but it's still not succumbing to them. It's still not letting them own me. I have a choice, and my choice is to not be a victim. Take it in your stride and keep moving forward. Stay resilient. Number 2, opening up to others. You should have seen this one coming. Get it out or let it out in some way or another. Don't carry it like it's some kind of burden, because that's what it will be. If there's something within you that you want to share the world, there's something that's bothering you or something that's having a negative impact, something that's having a positive impact, get it off your soul, get it off your chest, share it with somebody. Like James mentioned, as we've said in the show before, a big part of kind of relationship communication or communication between two people, the biggest reason that they don't work is because they don't address the thing immediately as it's happening. They don't get it out and they don't resolve it. So clarity and trying to not let it fester, not let it become something that we overlap with too much thinking and too much analysis. If you can, get it out sooner rather than later. And even if it takes you 1,000 words to explain and get it out, maybe those 1,000 words are necessary. But it's about finding clarity, which is why when James says, sometimes when he's talking with his wife about what's going on, he'll just say, I'm feeling like I'm here, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm thinking, this is what has made me think that, this is why it's made me think that. Just unravel that thought process, put it out on the table. You know, God willing that you're speaking to someone that will allow you to do that and give you the space to do that, judgment free. But that puts it on the table in front of you. You're no longer burdened by it. And now both of you are able to have a look at it and examine it. So open up to people. Get it out or let it out. Piggybacking off of the last one, if communication isn't your strong suit, it's not everyone's. Trust me. If you asked me however many years ago to open up to someone, I'd have been like, what the fuck? No, that's scary. I'm not doing that. That's all right. You know, not everyone is going to be an extrovert, or a new term that I've discovered, an ambivert, which is a combination of introvert and extrovert. And that's fine. That is fine. Don't worry. But there are ways around that. You know, you don't have to be the best talker in the world in order to share, or, a little hint for this one, express what's going on. It's about finding an outlet. This one, it's about having creativity. If you're not able to talk, or if you're not able to speak to someone, or you don't have people you can communicate to, then try find an alternative outlet. How can you get what's within you, which is dying to get out? How can you let it be free? Whether it be on lined paper or an open canvas, whether it be a martial art. I say that because that's what martial arts has become for me. It's become an expression. It's become a way of me using what I feel productively. And that's kind of the essence of it, using that something negative, or maybe that's something positive. Putting it out, giving it to the world, giving it back to the world. Right, deep breath for this next one. This is a tough one. Accountability. Oh, God, please, no. Don't expect anyone else to keep you honest. Don't expect anyone else to keep you moving forward to what matters to you. It also works in that every decision that you make, every day, everywhere, a good accountability will be owning it. Whether it's a good decision or a bad decision. You know, accountability doesn't work selectively. If you make a fuck up, if you make a fuck up, if you make a mistake, if shit goes sideways, then yeah, that was on you. I made a mistake at the fire service. We rocked up to the station ready to go, and I had left my kit in a bad state, and I got a telling off for it there and then when we were supposed to be getting out the door. And I felt like a twat. I felt like a right muppet. But at the end of the day, it was me that left it there. I was the one that, you know, caused that and could have potentially delayed something which could have been a lot more serious. And that's on me. But from that accountability, I can learn from that. From that accountability, I'm not going to let my kit get in that state again. I'm going to make sure everything's ready to go and it's going to be seamless without a hitch, even if we're rocking up at 2, 3 in the morning. Accountability means you can own it, means you can learn from it and use it productively. And when you start being accountable, that also means you start earning your own respect. It's no longer panning off problems. I mean, we all want to take credit for the stuff that we do that's good, sure. But when we start taking accountability for the mistakes and the errors and the failures and the shortcomings, that's when we start earning our own respect, because we're putting what we did on our own shoulders. We're not passing the buck to somebody else. We're not saying, oh, I don't want to deal with this, so I'm going to try and make it seem as though it's their problem. No, this was me, okay? But in that is strength, in that is respect, in it saying to you could be in a room of 10 people, and good accountability and good self-respect can be exemplified by saying, actually, no, that was me. I did that. And people look around and say, okay, he's honest, he's owning up to it. He's not backing down from it. Fair play. Accountability, hard in practice, but worth it. This next one, mindfulness, or a more practical term that I've got written down, self-maintenance. It's about being proactive in looking after yourself. It's learning what are your needs and what do you need to keep being yourself. If you were to be running at standard function, what are the things that you would need to facilitate that? And now it looks different for everyone, trust me. I am not you and you are not me, so mine is probably not going to be the same as yours. For me, it's finding quiet time. It's time in nature. It's discipline. And for me, discipline is the art of learning when to say yes and when to say no. And it's checking in on myself. I have to do that. Things can get a lot up in my head. So taking that time to sit down and be actually like, are we okay? How are we doing? What's been working? What's not been working? Understand what your process is and make time for it. This next one, pursue meaning. Now, there's a hell of a lot of bullshit out there at the moment. There's so much out there. But are we going to let what we consume us? Pursuing meaning, what I mean by that is taking back your time and wisely and deliberately spending it in ways that you want to. Time is our most valued currency and it is limited. And certain people know this and they take advantage of that. It's within certain companies and people's interests for you to spend as much time consuming content as possible. But we're not going to talk about that. While I'm at it, there's a quote by a gentleman named Guidness as part of the social dilemma. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Scary thought. Find out what means a lot to you. Seize back your time. If it gives you meaning, pursue it. Number 7, courage versus... you might think courage versus what? Well, courage versus insert anything here. Courage is knowing the risk. Courage is knowing that it could fail. Courage is acknowledging how absolutely terrified or scared you might be and doing it anyway. It's taking that first step out. It's taking that first step out the door into the unknown. Sometimes, to me, courage is sitting down and just starting to do a little bit of podcast work. Sometimes courage can be as small as doing a little bit of creative work, because that scares me. And it means a lot to me, particularly the podcast. And sitting down and working at something which there's always the possibility it could crash and burn. This might never succeed. We could get cancelled. I could say something that blows up in the worst way possible. But it's knowing why you're doing it and then acting on it. You've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to take that risk and knowing that everything could go tits up. Give it a go anyway. Because you know what? What if it does succeed? Instead of why me, why not me? Because it could work. Number 7, challenge your perceptions. Now, this is an interesting one. It's been particularly interesting for me and the way that I think. It's using thought productively. It's taking a step back and thinking, okay, well, why do I think that way? And then taking another step back. What makes me think that way? And then asking yourself, is there a way that I could do things differently that would result in more happier thoughts, or would just result in more happier well-beings? Because we become a product of our environment, but that doesn't mean we always have to be one. We can tweak and alter and change ourselves in little subtle ways, which can have the biggest impact. And for me, for someone who's been always very dominant and at times quite neurotic about the way that I think, over analytical, for me it's been very important to actually, look at how I'm wired and see if I can just rejig a few things. But it also works outwardly in how we perceive the world. Why do I think that way about that person? What is it about them? Does that say something about me? Now, what does that say about me? Okay, why do I think this about this thing? Just take some time, question some things, and don't be too adverse to thinking about, okay, is there a way that I could be happier and more at peace and more in the current with myself? Don't fight it. Find a way to flow with it. And in the name of happiness, meaning, or mindfulness. So challenge your perceptions. Maybe just a fun little experiment. So this is the big one. The one which has influenced the entirety of the 8.5 years, probably the most. But before we do, please consider supporting us on Buy Me a Coffee. If not, like, favourite and subscribe. Thank you. Exercise. Hey! Of course it is. Of course it's exercise. I mean, I was athletic when I was younger, and then I wasn't. But for the past 8.5 years, exercise has been massive for me. Oh my God. It gets me out of my head. It gets me practically moving when I'm mentally locked. When I'm at a mental stalemate, everything's just clashing against each other. Get out, do something, work your body, see nature, be amongst things outside. If you're getting real pent up, if you're pissed off, if you're really fucking angry, go and punch stuff in a healthy way. Go and hit things nicely. And it's a way that you can translate your thought process into something positive, like martial arts for me. When I realised that my most dangerous weapon as a kickboxer or a boxer was my mind, oh shit, that really, really evolved my game into, okay, what can I do to think productively? How can I implement my mind in strategy, in tactics? What material, what books, what history is there that I can use? Practical application. Exercise, working your body, staying healthy, giving yourself all those lovely healthy chemicals, and it will in turn, as Luke said in the previous interview, it will turn into a bit of a cycle. He's had massive changes on his well-being overall, whether it be diet, mindset, his recreational habits with vaping and smoking. It's come from exercise. It's become from finding something, finding your niche, finding your thing that you love to do. Mine's kickboxing. Find that, and that will give you rewards after rewards. The further you go, the more that it will give to you. It sucks to begin with, sure. I remember how far I could run, how far, quotations, and thinking at the end of it, bloody hell, I went bloody miles. And years down the line, I'm still running that same track, but going about 10, 15 times that distance it remains relative, sure, but it's the single biggest impact, exercise, undoubtedly. But that was the big one. Hope it was worth the wait. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this episode, there were so many that I was thinking of, but no, keep it in the episode. Don't take the fucking piss about it. Please let us know what yours are. If there is one that you are screaming down your phone or listening or watching device thinking, Sam, how did you miss this? I'm sorry. All right, let us know and we'll give you a shout out on the next episode. We'll make sure that your voice is heard, because when you contribute something like this, that could change somebody's life. That could be the box that ticks something for them. That could make a difference. So if there is something, please comment it, whether it be on the Spotify, whether it be on our YouTube video, or whether it be on one of our socials. Get involved. Let us know what it is and spread that positivity. Give us a like, favourite and subscribe. Follow us on our socials. And don't forget to tune in for next week's episode. This has been the Air and Out podcast. I have been Sam. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves.